Welcome back, Wolfpack Verlis here, and this is how to use Manaphy. So Manaphy is one of those really balanced mythical legendary Pokemon. Has a base stat total of 600, and every stat is going to be base 100. So it does mean a lot of really interesting things for us. Then when we look at it, we're not going to see too much because there's no really big power differences. Where do we see that overwhelming attack or that overwhelming speed or defensive stat? But at the same time, it's actually very powerful. That we are still a 100 base hit point Pokemon with 100 in both defenses, so we can be pretty bulky. At the same time, we also have a decent amount of sweeping potential because we have mild offenses and that good amount of speed as well as the high defenses. So we can do all sorts of things. We can be a setup tank that gets pretty filthy. We can also become a setup sweeper, so we can go for a lot of damage, or we can just be a balanced attacker, and Manaphy kind of checks all of those boxes. Also, we will be looking at Phione today just a bit, and Phione is very reminiscent of Glalie, 80 in every single base stat. So it is going to be very similar to Manaphy, just Manaphy light in a way, because it's not as strong on the stats, but someone might want a Phione strategy, so I will tag it in at the end of this video. Looking at their typing, they are a pure water type. So just a grass and electric weakness. We also have our general water stab for offenses, where we hit like fire type Pokemon and ground and rock and things like that. And we are also resistant to steel, fire, water, and ice. So yeah, just standard water stuff, nothing really too complex about it, which is why we're just going to go and hop into Pokemon Showdown and see how to use Manaphy. Now Manaphy, the reason why it becomes this setup sweeper of sorts is because of the move Tail Glow. Tail Glow is one of the most powerful moves in the game because it's one of the very few moves that actually boosts a stat by 3 stages. So we have Tail Glow, raises the user's special attack by 3. Well, my job here is done. That's pretty much it. Manaphy writes itself as a strategy, that there's not much else to it, and really the core of Manaphy is just breaking down, getting the right Tail Glow at the right time, and then having a very strong potential sweep from it. So with this special attack raised by 3, it means we're actually going to have 2.5 times our special attack. And remember, we have a 100 base special attack, so that's going to be a good amount of damage, but at the same time we have some good defenses, so we can go and break this down. The ideal way of running Manaphy is timid nature with some kind of speed investment. You can go 252, 252, and you can try to outspeed everything you can, but the interesting thing about having 160 speed EVs is that we actually get to outspeed Pokemon that are 100 base speed, but like adamant nature, a non-speedy nature, and even if they have max speed investment. So we can use that to edge out and then get a little bit of hit point investment, because with these defenses, we're still a really difficult Pokemon to knock out. Also, Manaphy gets the Hydration ability, which is why we have Rain Dance. Hydration. Status is cured at the end of each turn if Rain Dance is active, so depending on how you feel your opponent is running, if you see that it's a bulky Pokemon like a Moongus and it most likely wants to spore you, you can make the prediction right there. You can just use Rain Dance, they put you to sleep, Hydration wakes you up at the end of the turn, so you can kind of cancel that out. Same if they try to stall you out with Burn or anything like that. That Manaphy is a really difficult Pokemon to set up against because of Tail Glow. Doesn't matter if you have a Calm Mind Pokemon, unless it's Suicune against this set, because Scald and Ice Beam, but we'll talk about the options here in a bit. So, I mean, with Tail Glow, the idea is you set up Tail Glow, you outspeed, and then you win. You can also use the rest of your team to kind of take out your opponent's faster Pokemon. That Manaphy is going to be the ultimate wall breaker, that if you see your opponent setting up, you bring in Manaphy. It's bulky, it can run the leftovers, has Rain Dance, so you can't really outstatus it or anything, and then it just sets up the Tail Glow, and then it has to scare off your Pokemon, and then after that we have Scald and Ice Beam for options. So Scald, going to be stabbed, have that chance to burn, or we can just go straight up with a Surf. Sometimes we will see the Surf because we don't need status if we're boosting with Tail Glow, and those extra 10 points of damage actually matter. So base 80 to base 90, with stab is 15, and then we're also going 2.5 times, so we're getting close to 40 extra base power damage just running Surf over Scald, and we don't need the burn anyway, so just go for the Surf high damage potential. I mean, you can double Tail Glow, and Surf is going to have some very high KO potential after that. And then Ice Beam. Pretty much it's a random coverage move. Now, again, we talked that you can get stalled out by water-type Pokemon. So if there's a Pokemon like Slowbro using Calm Mind, Tail Glow isn't going to have a lot of damage to outpace these Pokemon, so you might want to run something like Energy Ball. Energy Ball means that other Calm Mind Pokemon or other wall kind of Pokemon you'll be able to get around, but then at the same time, by running a move like Energy Ball, you can get walled out by Pokemon like Amoonguss, so it does put you into some really interesting situations. But the idea is you have 5 other Pokemon, so you pretty much make it to where it revolves around Manaphy. You bring in Manaphy at the right time, and then you can try to go for a really hard sweep from there. Potentially, if you have Sticky Web set up, you Baton Pass speed into Manaphy, things start getting really scary really quick. And if you're Baton Passing, then I do recommend just 3 moves, because why do you need Rain Dance if we're already going for a hard sweep, which means that we can fit in the Ice Beam, we can maybe fit in some kind of other move, and then this is going to give us some really good coverage, and it's going to be a pretty solid way of running it. if we also just want to go for all-out damage, you know, just set up Tail Glow into a Life Orb, and then we continue to one-shot everything from there. Life Orb is going to take away from that sustain, but as long as we're already outspeeding anything, we don't need the leftover sustain anyway, and we just go for like ultimate breakdown. Now Manaphy can also be a really good Calm Mind Pokemon, because remember, 100 base defense, and 100 hit points, and 100 special defense. So the idea with this is that we max out hit points, max out defense. We can go for a bold nature, or we can also just kind of split it up, just give a little bit more in that special defense. Then we set up Calm Minds. We bring Manaphy in. Maybe they might think you're going to be setting up something like a Tail Glow, and next thing they know that you're getting tankier and tankier over them, and then they don't have really too many options of dealing with you. Instead of going with like Rest Sleep Talk, we're doing Rest Rain Dance. Because you use Rain Dance, well then while it's on the field, Hydration makes it to where if you rest, you wake up at the end turn. So you're getting free hit points, free full hit points at the end turn, as well as curing status right there, which means we can have the leftovers, or we can even go with the Damp Rock. That 8 turns of being able to rest and get full hit points for that turn is pretty worth it, especially if you can make some really good predictive play. That, okay, we go Calm Mind, Rain Dance, Rest. That's like going to be the intro kind of thing, and then we wake up, and now we have a couple turns to just kind of do whatever. Keep Calm Minding throughout some Scald, maybe even play around it like that, and even if we need to switch out Manaphy because something really threatens us, well, now we have Rain Dance on the field, so you pair that with a Swift Swim Pokemon, and we can get a lot of really scary things out of it. The idea is becoming unkillable. Because, I mean, we go +3, +4 on Calm Mind, so now our special defense becomes untouchable. We still have over 400 hit points. If we burn the opponent with Scald, now they can't damage us physically, and we just become the ultimate wall Pokemon that gets all of its hit points back in one turn. So it is that different take on Manaphy, this is what I mean. We can either run Pure Sweep, so immediately Tail Glow into victory, or we can go for that late game, long kind of Calm Mind setup into damage, and that's kind of it with Manaphy. That you choose your poison, most likely it's going to be Tail Glow, and then you try to find ways of sweeping by adjusting your team as needed. With Phione, I feel you can actually do a couple of really interesting things with Phione. Because of Hydration, I think it can be the ultimate Cleric Pokemon. So you give it a Damp Rock, you give it Rain Dance, and then you try to make it a very powerful rain setter on your team. That if you have Swift Swim Pokemon that work really well in the rain, Pokemon that just like the damage boosting from water type attacks, or something like that. You know, if we have like a Scarf Water Spout Pokemon, we can get a lot of extra damage. We can make this work out pretty well. By using the Rain Dance with the Damp Rock, we're going to have it for 8 turns, and then Phione can actually be a really solid Cleric from there. Because what you want to do is you set up Rain Dance, you use Knock Off, you rest, you switch out, you still have a couple of turns of rain, you're at full hit points, because most likely you're going to get outsped. So then, like, by the time you rest, you wake up, you switch out, and then you do things from there. And then if your Pokemon gets statused whenever, you know, a very crucial burn that's kind of hurting your team really bad, or just anything that's really setting your team back, bring in Phione, you use Heal Belt, you clear up all the status, and then you can keep playing around it like that. You set Rain Dance, you use Rest, you use Knock Off, you use Rest, and then you switch out, and now you still have a couple more turns of rain, while you're removing your opponent's items, while you're pretty much fixing all of the damage done to your team. And this can just be super annoying to deal with, so this is what I was thinking about for Phione. So the stats are just going to be Impish Nature, max out hit points, defense, special defense, even break, and then we go for the Impish Nature because that's going to make it to where we get a little bit more on our defense, that we're ready for physical threats, and then we're just removing items, setting rain, healing up to full, and clericking for the team. I think Phione does that pretty well. So I wouldn't think about doing it with Manaphy, even though Manaphy's tankier and can technically do it better. It's a Tail Glow Pokemon, it's a heavy Calm Mind Pokemon. Feel like you're wasting potential, but with Phione, you can still do this and have fun and be a really good support. So it's kind of like a not really heavy Pokemon, but it's supposed to make up for it. That by removing 1 or 2 items, by setting the rain, and by getting rid of status once or twice, it's already done the work of more than one Pokemon, so it can bring you through the rest of the game by doing so. So if you guys enjoyed the video, that's Manaphy and Phione. I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.